This 21-year-old boy is brought to a jail where there are no laws, only power rules, where every prisoner makes his mark with blood. As soon as he enters the jail, all the inmates become his enemies. But little did they know that the boy they were messing with would turn out to be the boss of them all. So at the beginning of the story, we see a police van that brings some prisoners straight to a jail in China. This jail doesn't house ordinary inmates, but rather prisoners who are the most dangerous criminals. Any prisoner who appears weak in front of them is killed without mercy. And today as well, some prisoners are brought to this jail, among whom is a young 21-year-old inmate named Riki. He was brought to this jail because he had brutally killed a man. Riki was sentenced to a full 10 years in this jail, but because of his young age, he only had to spend 5 years here. As soon as Riki passes through the metal detector, a red alert starts going off. Seeing this, the guards stop him and begin to check him. Even after checking him, the guards don't find anything on Riki, but the metal detector keeps indicating that he has some kind of metal object with him. So the guards take him to an X-ray machine. As soon as the machine is turned on, it reveals not just one, but a total of 5 bullets lodged in his chest, and these are what the machine was detecting. Seeing this, the guards present there are completely shocked. How could it be possible for an ordinary person to have 5 bullets stuck in his chest and still be standing there perfectly fine? The guard asks him why he didn't get those bullets removed. In response, Riki tells him that these bullets are a source of power for his body, which is why he never had them taken out. Then we are shown that this jail is actually divided into 4 different blocks, and each block is ruled by a dangerous inmate. Each of these 4 is the king of his own territory. They do whatever they want and punish whoever they please. The leader of each cell doesn't even let anyone breathe in his territory without his permission, and every corner of the jail is filled with fear, blood, and oppression. As soon as morning comes, everyone is busy with their own tasks. Just then, a prisoner named Samuel arrives, who is the leader of the West Block. As soon as he arrives, he starts beating up an old prisoner named Wing because Wing had not obeyed him, so he beats him up right there. In fact, this man had spent his entire life in this jail and saw no hope of ever getting out, because he knew that he wouldn't be able to survive for long among these cruel and ruthless prisoners. So he made a small toy for his son right there in jail, so that he could give his son one last gift. But during this time, Samuel picks up the toy. The old prisoner asks for his toy back from him because he had made it for his son with great effort. But just then, Samuel hits him on the head with the toy, causing him to fall down, and the toy breaks into pieces. Samuel threatens him, saying that if you mess with me again, I'll kill you. By now, the old man was completely fed up with his taunts, and a fire of revenge against Samuel began to burn in his heart. So he picks up a broken piece of the toy and charges towards him. But Samuel's lackey blocks his way, and right then Samuel picks up the toy and smashes it hard into his face, leaving him writhing in pain on the spot. Hearing his agonized screams, the guard arrives there. But before the guard can save him from those brutes, he instead tells them to beat him even more and then leaves. Samuel was boldly moving ahead with his lackeys when suddenly Riki comes and kicks him in the leg, causing his face to land directly onto the sharp nails lying on the ground, and the wooden plank with nails ends up gouging out his eye. At the same time, his lackey was about to attack Riki. But when Riki glared at him, such fear struck him that all 3 of them turned and ran away from there. Here, Samuel somehow survived, but he had become blind in one eye. That's why now a fire for revenge was burning inside him. Now he would do whatever it takes to finish Riki off, and he wouldn't rest until he got his revenge. At that moment, his same lackey comes and says that to kill Riki, they'll need Mad Dragon. He will kill him no matter what. Mad Dragon is the most dangerous prisoner in this jail, who never leaves anyone alive. If anyone messed with him, he would finish them off with just one hand. The warden has currently locked Mad Dragon in a solitary cell because just the day before, he had brutally killed another inmate. That same day, Samuel makes a deal with a guard and tells him to inform Wing that his sentence has been extended and now he will have to spend another 20 years in this jail. So the guard goes straight to him and tells him that his release has been cancelled, and from now on, he will have to spend another 20 years in this jail. Hearing this, the old inmate is completely shaken, because he knows that if he stays in this jail now, Samuel will definitely take his revenge on him and torture him to death. So he falls at the guard's feet and begs them for his release. But instead, the guards beat him up and walk away. Before he could spend the rest of his life here in agony, that very night he hangs himself and ends his life. This news spreads throughout the entire jail, and Riki also finds out that the man whose life he had saved that day has now died. When the guards are carrying away his body, Riki arrives there. When he sees the handcuffs on Wing's hands, he tells the guards to remove the handcuffs from his hands because he is dead now. At least set him free now. At that moment, Riki easily breaks his handcuffs right there. Seeing this, the guards are shocked. How could an ordinary person break such strong handcuffs? Riki then takes out Wing's toy, the same one that Samuel had broken that day and Riki had fixed. He places the toy on his body so that he can find a little comfort. Now, seeing Wing die, his heart breaks from within, and once again, the fire of revenge ignites inside Riki. Now, he is determined to avenge Wing by taking revenge on Samuel. The next morning, all the prisoners come to bathe. While Riki is bathing, Samuel comes there and starts staring at him intently. And at the same time, that bull-like prisoner, Mad Dragon, arrives. He comes straight up to him and punches him in the face, sending Riki flying like a balloon into a corner. But then, Riki also rises up like a storm and punches him in the stomach so hard that his stomach bursts open from the inside and he dies on the spot. Seeing this, Samuel grabs a nail and drives it straight into Riki's hand. But then Riki also breaks all of his fingers like they were sticks. Now the time had come for Riki to take his revenge, and taking advantage of the moment, he punches straight through Samuel's stomach, finally putting an end to Samuel right there. The prisoners standing in front lose their senses after witnessing all this. At the same time, the guards arrive and take him away from there. Just then, a prisoner named Narumi, who was the leader of the North Block, comes up to him. He had come there to instill fear in Riki. But when he saw Mad Dragon killed by Riki's hands, he tries to befriend him like a mouse. But Riki walks away from there without saying anything to him. He is immediately locked up in a cell where the most dangerous prisoners were kept. Just like Mad Dragon was kept there before, now he too is left in this cell. But then he starts feeling pain in his chest, and at the same time, we are shown a flashback scene. When he was a student, his parents had already passed away from this world. When he comes to his parents' grave, his master, Zhang, is standing there in front of him. The same master who used to train him in martial arts during his childhood. The master asks him to show his strength. But as soon as he attacks the master knocks him down in a single move. So here, the master tells him that he has not yet become a true master. There is still weakness inside you, which you need to overcome, and it will take quite some time to do so. Only then will you be able to become a strong fighter. Hearing this, Riki falls at the master's feet and pleads, saying that he must become a master at any cost. I will overcome my weakness, no matter how long it takes. That's why, on the very same day, the master begins training him, and here the master tells Riki that first of all, he must learn to control his mind. Then you must rid your mind of all anger and hatred. The master places a stone in front of him and says, "Control your mind completely and break this stone." So Riki controls himself and tears the stone placed there as if it were a piece of paper. Seeing this, the master showers him with stones. Riki then tears through them as if he were a storm. Finally, the master picks up the biggest stone and throws it straight at his chest. But Riki easily breaks that one too. Now the master realizes that Riki has learned to fully control himself and no longer needs any more training. After this, the scene shifts and we see Riki sitting in his cell. At that moment, a guard comes and tells him that the assistant warden has called for him. So he is taken straight to the assistant warden, whose table is piled high with food. He didn't have one hand, so he had attached a double hook in its place. And he was even eating his food with that hook. The warden tells the guard to read Riki's report. The guard reads the report and says that Riki was an orphan. He had no parents and had been living in an orphanage since childhood. He was expelled from school as well because there too he would start beating up anyone he caught. So he enrolled in a music college where he learned to play the flute. In fact, at a young age, he joined a gang and ended up taking a man's life. That's why he was brought here to this prison. Hearing this, the warden comes over to him and asks, "How did you end up with 5 bullets in your chest?" But Riki just smiles and doesn't give any answer. So the warden shows him a photograph, which was of Riki's friend. As Riki reaches out his hand to take it, the warden suddenly stabs a hooked shackle into his hand and starts raining punches on him. The warden tries hard to make him talk, but in response, Riki spits in his face. So, in anger, the warden crushes the photograph, which makes Riki's blood boil, and he breaks the table into 2 pieces right there. Seeing this, the warden hides in a corner like a cat. Riki was about to smash his face, but he controlled his anger and walked away from there. At night, Riki sat in his cell, looking at the same photograph and feeling very sad, because it was a picture of his friend Keiko. The two of them used to spend every day of their lives happily together. But ever since coming to prison, his life has become like that of a dog. To calm himself down, he plays the same flute that he used to play while sitting with his friend. But just then, a guard comes and forbids him from playing the flute, saying that if he plays it again, he'll break the flute into pieces. The next day, when Samuel's lackey comes out of his cell, some inmates start following him, because it was because of him that Wing lost his life. Now all of them wanted to take revenge on him for Wing. They were just about to cut him with a sharp sword, but just then, that same inmate, Narumi, arrives. He stops them from killing him, saying that if you kill him, all of your sentences will be increased. You could even be sentenced to death. But there, an inmate named Wong gets angry at him and says, "Where were you when we were being oppressed? Why didn't you help us back then? And now that it's our turn, why are you letting him live?" He tells him that we shouldn't let him live. We have to kill him. Hearing this, Narumi gets angry and taking that sharp sword, slices his mouth open from the middle, causing him to writhe in pain right there. Meanwhile, the warden standing above watches this and is very pleased, saying, "I didn't expect this from you, but now you've truly made me happy." The warden hooks a sharp hook into his mouth and drags his still living corpse away from there. That same day, the warden calls Narumi to him, gives him a weapon, and says that just as you killed Wong, now you must also kill Riki. Hearing this, Narumi is lost in thought because Wong was just an ordinary prisoner, so he killed him easily. But Riki is not just any ordinary prisoner. If he messes with Riki, Riki will tear him apart just like Mad Dragon. But since it was the warden's order, he agrees to do it. After this, Narumi comes to the prison ground. There, he had Wong chained up and hung on a structure so that seeing him suffer would instill fear in the hearts of the other prisoners, and no one would dare stand against him again. Seeing his body there makes Riki feel very bad. At this moment, Narumi attacks him and a fierce fight breaks out between the two. Here, Narumi kicks him, but then Narumi throws crushed glass into his eyes, causing Riki to become completely blind. He couldn't see anything there. Taking advantage of this, Narumi stabs him in one arm, causing Riki to fall down. But right then, Riki finds a water pipeline there. He quickly broke the pipeline, causing water to gush out, and immediately washed his eyes. Once again, he turned into a terrifying storm and pounced on Narumi like a wild dog. At that moment, he slapped Narumi so hard on the head that his eye popped out and fell to the ground like a marble. Meanwhile, the warden also arrives there, and seeing Narumi defeated, he is left completely stunned. Riki quickly pulls his veins together and ties them, getting ready to attack once again. But at that moment, Narumi gives up and stabs a knife straight into his own stomach. But this was just a trick of his. As soon as Riki comes near him, he pulls out his own intestines and wraps them around Riki's neck. But right then and there, Riki lifts him up and punches him so hard on the head that all the bones in his skull are crushed and he is finished off on the spot. After this, Riki brings Wong's body down. They all try to lift him up, but by then it was too late and Wong had already breathed his last there. Seeing this, Riki tells all the prisoners that the warden is responsible for this innocent man's death. Kill him. So all the prisoners charge at him like a storm and launch their attack to kill him. But just then, someone grabs a prisoner and smashes his head. Seeing this, everyone is suddenly shocked. Actually, these three were the leaders of their respective cells. And now only these three were left because the fourth prisoner, Narumi, had already been killed. The first prisoner's name was Chang, who was a woman. She had a power that allowed her to move easily from one place to another. The second prisoner's name was Kitama, and the third was Brandon. Here, the warden tells Riki that if he has the courage, he should kill these three. Riki's friends also kept telling him to kill them all. But Riki doesn't say anything in response and simply picks up Wong's body and starts to leave. The warden gives him an offer and says that he wants to make him the leader of the North Cell because Narumi has been killed. So now I want to put you in his place. I've never seen a prisoner as strong as you. But Riki doesn't say anything in response, because he didn't want to become a puppet dancing to his tunes. He was now completely broken, because it was because of him that everyone else lost their lives too. A boy sitting at a distance, who was also a prisoner in this jail, was watching Riki. When Riki plays a tune with a leaf, that boy also tries to play a tune with a leaf. But even after many attempts, he is unable to play the tune. Just then, Riki comes over and sits next to him and teaches him how to play the tune. But during this, the boy suddenly starts crying. Riki asks him, "Why are you crying? What's the reason?" Then, when the boy opens his mouth, it is revealed that half of his tongue has been cut off. Actually, there was a secret about the warden that only he knew. That's why the warden cut off his tongue to keep his secret hidden. Seeing this, Riki's desire for revenge against the warden burns even stronger. Riki gives him his flute. As soon as he plays the flute, it starts making music, which makes him very happy. In return for his happiness, the boy gives Riki some leaves so that he can also play the flute with them. But when Riki looks at those leaves, he becomes suspicious because those leaves are used to make drugs. And in reality, all the cell leaders were making a lot of money by selling them. Riki asks him, "Where did you get these leaves from?" He tells him, "I got these leaves from the West Block." Meanwhile, That same girl was secretly watching them from above, because she was the leader of the West Block who sold these leaves to everyone. The girl goes straight into a room and tells her friends everything, saying that they've been exposed because that boy told Riki about the leaves. So she calls that boy over, and there, a leader hands him a knife and says, "Tonight, you have to finish off Riki, or else you won't wake up alive tomorrow morning." But the boy flatly refuses her. So, in a fit of rage, the girl brutally kills him. They placed his body in the middle of the jail, and all the prisoners looked very frightened when they saw it. When Riki finds out about this, he goes straight to the body. There, those cruel people had crushed his body. As soon as Riki approaches the corpse, he finds the same flute lying there that he had given to the boy that day. Seeing his companion dead, Riki is filled with anger. Meanwhile, the warden also finds out about the girl's dark deeds, which makes him very angry at her. On the other hand, Riki burned the entire garden of those plants to ashes. The girl comes running there, but by then it was too late and all her plants had burned down to ashes. Riki, in anger, tells her that just as you killed my companion, I will also make you suffer and kill you slowly. A fight was just about to break out between the two of them when suddenly the girl, moving like a bullet, punches him so hard. He goes flying and crashes straight into a wall. Meanwhile, when all the prisoners inside the jail find out that the fire outside is spreading everywhere, they take advantage of the situation and start escaping from there. All the prisoners run out of the building for their freedom, because this was their last chance to escape from the jail. On the other hand, the warden also finds out everything, so he gets very angry at that guard. But just then, another guard comes and tells him that the warden is coming here tomorrow. Hearing this news, the assistant warden is completely shocked. Because if the warden comes here tomorrow, not only will all the prisoners get beaten like dogs, but so will he. Meanwhile, Riki also completely loses his courage. But just then, he remembers something his master said. His master had told him that when you feel like you're about to lose to your enemy, never let him realize your true strength. Instead, make him believe that you have accepted defeat so that he lets his guard down a bit. Then, gather all your strength in one place and, taking advantage of the opportunity, attack him. And Riki does exactly that, and once again stands ready to attack his opponent. But just then, that same prisoner Brandon arrives there. He starts attacking Riki with ropes because he had a very dangerous power to throw ropes. He had attached a large, sharp spike to the end of those ropes, which could pierce right through anyone's body. Then, one after another, he attacked and pinned Riki's body with those sharp spikes. Meanwhile, the prisoner Kitama arrives there and grabs him. He was just about to kill him when suddenly the alarm goes off, and everyone is ordered to return to their cells. Anyone who doesn't comply will be shot. But Kitama doesn't listen to them at all and is determined to take his revenge on Riki before leaving. So the guards open fire on him, and in the chaos, everyone manages to escape from there. Kitama drags Riki into a cell. As soon as they enter the cell, the door shuts and cement starts filling the cell from both sides, so both of them were about to die, turning into stone inside the cement. Because this was all part of the warden's plan. The warden wanted to finish Riki off at any cost. But Riki immediately breaks down the door and escapes, bringing Kitama out with him. Seeing this, the warden is shocked because he didn't expect Riki to help Kitama and get him out. Riki was just standing there, but due to the weight of Kitama and the cement, both of them fall down. He told his guard that the warden would be coming tomorrow and to erase all the evidence of what happened in the jail. After the warden leaves, I will teach Riki a lesson. The next day, everyone was standing, waiting for the warden to arrive. Even after waiting for several hours, there was no sign of the warden. So, tired and exhausted, everyone just lay down right there. But just then, in the distance, they see the warden's car approaching, and seeing this, everyone becomes alert. The warden's son was with him as well. As soon as he arrives, Warden Sheng tells him that yesterday an entire field of narcotic plants was burned down by a prisoner named Riki. Hearing this, the warden becomes very angry at him. After this, Sheng brings him to Riki, where Riki was locked in a cell and his entire body was encased in cement. But just then, Riki broke free from all the cement around his body and immediately grabbed the warden by the throat. But before he could kill him there, Kitama breaks through a wall and attacks him. Kitama grabs his hands through the thick prison bars and starts raining punches on him. One punch after another, Riki's waist is completely battered. Riki saved his life that day, but he didn't show him any mercy. Kitama was about to smash his head, but then he showed his power and punched him in the throat so hard that his throat burst open. Right then, Riki struck his hand so hard that all his fingers shattered and fell to the ground, and Kitama died on the spot. Seeing this, the warden activated the hydraulic press from above, which Riki tries very hard to stop. But just then, the warden gives him a powerful electric shock, causing him to writhe in pain and fall to the ground. The hydraulic press was also rapidly descending towards him. But at that moment, the hydraulic press suddenly starts moving upward. That's when Kitama appears before us, who was still alive. He was holding the hydraulic press up because he had developed compassion for Riki in his heart, because Riki had also saved his life that day. Taking advantage of this, Riki breaks the door and escapes. He immediately stops the hydraulic press and tells Kitama to come out. But Kitama was so badly injured that he couldn't even move his legs. And here, Kitama loses his strength and the hydraulic press crushes him. As Kitama is dying, a photo flies over to him. When Riki looks at it, he sees Kitama and his mother in the picture. Seeing this, Riki vents his anger on the warden. So the warden presses another button and Riki falls into a pit once again. After this, Riki was chained up in the middle of a large pit that had been dug. Just then, the warden arrives and orders all the prisoners to start throwing dirt on Riki one by one. But 2 prisoners standing there flatly refuse, saying that they will not commit this atrocity against Riki. Seeing this, the warden has them shot right there. Because of fear, all the other prisoners start throwing dirt on him one by one. Then the warden tells him that if he survives in this pit for a full 7 days, they will set him free. Meanwhile, Warden Jung sticks a bamboo pole into the pit so that when his body is buried underneath, he can only breathe through that bamboo. That night, all of Riki's friends were in deep shock because it was by their own hands that their companion was buried in the pit. Meanwhile, outside, the same prisoners arrive who were the leaders of the East and West blocks. They stuff something inside the bamboo so that Riki can't breathe and will die down there. But as soon as the 2 of them leave, Riki breaks the bamboo into 2 pieces from below. After this, we are shown that one day his friend Keiko was returning home from school. At that moment, she notices some thugs sitting at a distance who were waiting to catch her. Seeing this, as soon as she turns around to run away, another thug grabs her and they lock her up in a room. The boss of those thugs wanted to take his revenge on Keiko, because one day, because of Keiko, Riki had given him a good beating. He was about to kill her there, but just then she takes advantage of the situation and escapes, running and jumping off a building, and Keiko dies there. When Riki finds out about this, his heart is shattered from within. Somehow he manages to find the man who took his friend's life. That man, in turn, keeps firing bullets at him, but Riki isn't affected at all. On the contrary, Riki breaks his leg and smashes his head, killing him on the spot, and this was the crime for which Riki was imprisoned in that dangerous jail. On the other hand, his 7 days were up. On that very day, Riki was taken out of the pit. The warden was convinced that he must be dead, but as soon as he was brought out, he was still breathing. Seeing this, the warden was completely shocked. So Riki was once again trapped inside the spiked rods. The warden asks him about his strength, wanting to know what kind of power he possesses that allowed him to survive buried in the earth without air. But Riki also refuses to say a word in response. So that same girl comes there. She was holding a lot of blades in her hand. She stuffs all those blades into Riki's mouth, tapes it shut, and then slaps him repeatedly, one after another, making his mouth bleed profusely. Meanwhile, the warden comes and removes the tape from his mouth. But then Riki spits all the blades back at her, and all the blades get lodged in the warden's mouth. So once again, he is thrown into an empty, solitary cell. That same day, a prisoner sneaks in to bring him food. As soon as he leaves after giving the food, he is spotted from behind by the same prisoner who was Narumi's lackey. And that very day, he brings the warden to his cell. As soon as they enter, the warden kills that prisoner and drags him straight to Riki's cell. But when he looks inside Riki's cell, Riki is missing from there. Only the chains were left lying there. Actually, Riki was stuck to the ceiling above. As soon as the warden enters, Riki seizes the opportunity and beats him up. When Riki comes out and sees that prisoner, he finds him dead. Seeing this, his blood begins to boil with rage. Seeing this, the warden runs away from there. But as soon as he comes downstairs, all the prisoners surround him. And at the same time, a fight breaks out between all the guards and prisoners. Meanwhile, the warden was inspecting the entire jail, but he had no idea about the battle happening on the other side. At that moment, a prisoner said something inappropriate behind his back. Hearing this, the warden couldn't tolerate it and brutally cut off the prisoner's arm so that no one would ever make this mistake about him again. At that moment, Riki arrives there. Seeing this, the warden immediately fired a shot at him, but Riki pushed Warden Seng forward, and the bullet hit him directly, causing his stomach to swell up like a balloon and burst. At that moment, the girl arrives there. She launches attack after attack on Riki. Her companion Brandon also throws sharp nails at Riki, causing Riki to fall onto the boiling hot water and writhe in agony. The girl attacks him with her leg, but at that moment Riki plunges her leg into the boiling water and breaks it right there. Seeing this, Brandon runs away to save his life. But from behind, the warden shoots him, and he explodes right there. Now, the warden and Riki were standing face to face. Just then, Riki flies through the air and kicks him so hard that he crashes straight into a wall. But at that moment, the warden starts trembling, and right before our eyes, he transforms into a huge monster. And here we find out that, just like Riki, the warden also had a special kind of power that turns him into a dangerous monster. At first, the monster beats Riki up badly. But at the right moment, Riki uses his wits, picks him up, and throws him straight into the nearby grinder. He forcefully presses him into the grinder, turning him into mince. And in the end, Riki picks up his remaining head. On the other side, all the prisoners and guards were beating each other up. At that moment, Riki comes there and shows everyone the severed head of the warden, saying, "You are all free now." Riki throws the head far away, runs over, and breaks the prison wall into pieces from the middle. Along with Riki, all the prisoners are freed, and the movie ends here. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe to our channel.